Hi everybody, Angel here with confidenceiscatchy.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Sunday afternoon. And I am excited to bring you the next day 7 of our Catch This episodes about confidence and the building blocks of confidence. So thank you for tuning in. For those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Angel. I'm the owner of confidenceiscatchy.com, where we help people connect with information about how to build confidence in their lives. And so we welcome you if you're new. And for those of you who've been around a while and have watched me do live streams, you know that confidence is something that's really important to me. And as much as it's important to me to see it grow in others, it's super important for me to be growing my own. And so this whole video series that I started back in October has been basically an effort for me to get really comfortable in front of the camera, really comfortable with the topic of confidence and all of the subsets of that, and bring that all to you. And basically get all the jitters out. So I thank you for being with me on this journey. Today we're going to talk about our superpowers. We started yesterday talking about what is your superpower? How do you find it? Where do you look? And we all have one thing that makes us unique and special and different. And sometimes we don't know what that is. And so how do you go digging for it if you've never really put your mind to that task before? So today we're going to just kind of double back a little bit. Yesterday we talked about this book, Now Discover Your Strengths. I mentioned that you might want to pick that up on Amazon or Books A Million or someplace like that. It's a great book. It's got a workshop that comes with it, or like an online survey, I guess you'd call it, where it gives you your strengths and your top five strengths. And now, as with all strengths, they can be weaknesses if taken to an extreme. And so I caution you that sometimes you will, get your strength report, your strength finder, and you might read negatives into what are actually positives, and vice versa. So do be careful not to do anything too much in one direction. But one of the things that I find really interesting about this book is the right here in the book jacket, there's a little segue here. And it says, unfortunately, most of us have little sense of our talents and strengths, much less the ability to build our lives around them. Instead, guided by our parents, our teachers, our managers, and our psychology's fascination with psychology, or pathology, we become experts in our weakness and spend our lives trying to repair those flaws, while our strengths lie dormant and neglected. Now, how many of us do that, right? We constantly look at what's wrong with ourselves, and we don't focus on the things that are working. And so I want you today to really think about what works for you. You may not know what your superpower is yet, but you probably know what comes easily. You probably know what feels natural to you. Things that other people might comment like, wow, I can't believe you can do that, are kind of those little clues to tell you that you might be on the path of something that is unusually easy for you when it's difficult for other people. Recently, a good example in my life is recently, within the last 2 years, I took a class on something called income capitalization. Now, I won't tell you the big old appraisal jargon that that's all about, but I took that class and I scored a very high grade in it, and was a little surprised because the math is a little complicated, and it's something that a lot of people don't get right away, and I ended up the following year offering my, again, my background is teaching, so offering my teaching ability to teach for this organization that was giving the class. And I didn't expect that they would ask me to teach that particular class since I had just taken it the year before. But at that same time, it kind of made sense to me. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, I guess I could teach that. I just took it. I can probably, pull out my notes and really get a good feel for it. And I did, and I did a kind of like a student teaching day, and they offered me the opportunity to come back. And so it was kind of a up here, I was having a little like, not really sure I'm ready to do this. But at the same time, as I was doing it, I was like, yeah, I can do this. This is material that I'm comfortable with. I find it easy to teach to others, and I can help them get over their math phobia, which seems to be like 70% of the problem for some people, is that they just are so phobic about word problems and how to read them and how to decipher them and how to figure out what they're asking, and then being able to plug the math in on the flip side of that was really more of the teaching than even the math itself. It was more conceptual of test taking ability, much more so even than the math itself. So as I did it, as I went through the process, I started realizing that, people had always said to me, wow, you're really good at this. I mean, I had taken algebra, and the backstory is that in junior high, I had taken an algebra class with a terrible teacher. She was so mean. She had gotten demoted from high school. No word of a lie. Got demoted from high school for, getting caught in the closet with somebody. And so she got demoted to junior high and did not want to be there. And boy, did she make it known. And I ended up with her as my algebra teacher. And I did not do as well as they wanted me to do in order to go into the math and science track that they have you go into high school. And so they wanted me to take the class again. And the second time I got like an A plus on the exam and like extra bonus points and all that. And because it wasn't the math that was hard, it was the style of the teacher that was the problem. And so since then, but because of that whole drama that happened in junior high school, I always had it in my head I wasn't really good at math. And I always kind of avoided math, which is kind of funny because I ended up in a field where that was pretty much all I was doing. But in my mind, I was avoiding it. And would always say things out loud like, well, I don't do math in my head. And, that type of thing. Like just kind of self-deprecating comments because I had gotten it in my head that I wasn't really good at math. Well, fast forward 20-something years, and, now I'm in a career that requires me to do fairly complex appraisal math, a good amount of the time, at least when I was doing tax revaluation, we would do all kinds of computer modeling and pretty complicated math to get the computer to do what we wanted it to do. And here I am doing a field, working in a field for 20 years that basically is all math. And it wasn't until this last couple of years when I was like, wait a minute, how did that happen, right? Like I had taken it for granted that I had avoided math all this time, and then, it's just like the light bulb goes off and you're like, oh my God, no, I do this all day long. And so when people say, oh, you're really good at that, I discounted it. Up in here, that voice, we talked about that voice that's, taking up space. That voice would, every time somebody said, you're good at that, I would push it away. I would literally lock the door on it. Like, nope, no, I'm not. Nope, need a calculator. Nope, can't do it. Nope, can't do it. And yet I was doing it. And so how many things do you do, right, that you just take for granted as easy or take for granted as they're not a gift when really they are? And then if you were to put that out there amongst other people, if you were to lay that out, against your peers or other people in the same field or other people that you just know, that thing that comes relatively easy for you that you discount all the time, that you say, no, I'm really not good at that. How many of those things are actually things that make you unique, that make you have a superpower in comparison to your peers? And so what I'm going to ask you to do today is just to really think about the things where people have said, wow, you're really good at that. Or if somebody asks you all the time to do something for them, that's kind of a clue. Another thing that I get asked all the time is, can you proofread this for me? Well, why? I was an English teacher. I went to school to be an English teacher. So, you give me a red pen and I'm going crazy, right? So people give me stuff to rewrite and edit and read through. And I'm also really good at what I call unbitchifying emails. So if you're in a really crabby mood and you have just written out a tirade in your email to somebody and you're really angry about something, I can actually take that, rework it, and make it sound sugar-coated, I guess would be a good way to say it. Make it sound less bitchy. So unbitchify. That's my new word. I coined that one. So those are the types of things that people would give to me all the time, and I wouldn't think much about it. But now when I look back, looking for those clues of what are the things that I'm good at, that I could capitalize on, that I could consider a superpower or a strength, those are the types of things I'm talking about. Anything where people come to you all the time for the same thing over and over again, and you're not quite sure why, because to you it just seems so easy. That's a clue. So I'm going to give you a day to think about that. And, maybe ask some family members, maybe ask some friends. Say, if you were in a jam, what kind of jam could I help you out of best? What would be the best way I could help you if you got stuck on something? What would that be that you would call me? Like if you're phone a friend, right? If you're, what was that game that was on? If you got to phone a friend, what would they phone you for, right? That's a clue. So, ask around, think about it, write some stuff down, because you might find that there's kind of this thread that goes through your life that you never really put much thought into, because again, it felt natural and normal for you, but really is a key to some strength that you have that you don't even realize is there. So I hope that helps you for tonight, give you something to think about tonight, and tomorrow we'll talk more about acknowledging your gifts and your strengths. So join us then. If you haven't gotten your free confidence report, jump on confidenceiscatchy.com and sign up for that. And of course, if you know anybody that this would resonate with, go ahead and tag their name, share, like, smiley face, face, whatever you want to do. Say hi David. Anything you want to do online to help get the word out. We do want to let a lot of people know how they can build their confidence with this series. And for those of you who are not familiar, I'm now on YouTube as well, repurposing these videos onto my YouTube channel, which is Confidence is Catchy. So I'm hoping to see you there. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.